My name is Jon Fletcher, and like many of you, I'm a disabled traveller who loves exploring the world from a different angle. In this episode, we're looking forward to the Selling Travel for Everybody Awards. I have with me Charlotte Flach and Lady Tina Redding, and I was very lucky because I had the honour of chairing the judging panel for this awards. So we'll talk about that in just a few minutes, because before that, I need to do a shout out to one of our listeners all the way down in sunny South Africa. And that's to Lois Strachan. And I do apologise, Lois, when I replied to you on social media, because I changed your name to Lola. So do apologise about that. You know what it is? It's one of those spell check errors. So never trust spell check. And Lois tells me that she has been subscribed to the channel and she's listening to all the back catalogue. So she'll know all about Tina by the end of that. So if you would like a shout out on the podcast, then what you need to do is just drop me a comment on our social media posts, because the chances are you will get a shout out. So, I have two ladies with me today.
Should we do some intros, John?
There you go. I've got Charlotte Flach, and Charlotte is the editor of Selling Travel magazine.
Yeah.
And I've got my dear old friend. Did I say old then? No, she's as young as I come. Lady Tina Redding. And Tina is actually in a palace at the moment.
You can't help yourself, can you? I am. I'm in Italy at the moment. I'm in a gorgeous historic hotel, the Regina Palace on the shores of Lake Maggiore. So I'm up in Stresa in Italy this morning. So this morning it's ciao, come stai, and yeah. So welcome from Italy.
Oh,
very different, Tina. I'm just in the box room of my flat. Very grey and wet outside, so I think we couldn't be further worlds apart, could we really?
And I'm up in Manchester, and it's being typical Manchester. It's raining.
Of course. What else?
So, I think the first question we've got to ask is, what is the Selling Travel for Everybody Awards? Charlotte.
Absolutely. So first of all, I just want to say big hello to all the listeners. So happy to be on the podcast. So honoured to be invited. Thank you, John. I apologise. I'm looking a bit worse for the wear, a bit tired today. We had a very exciting day 2 days ago, Monday the 13th. We were at the Travel Media Awards, and we actually, I hope you don't mind me mentioning this, but we won Trade Publication of the Year. So I'm still hungover and tired, but very buzzing from it. So please forgive me if I look a bit dead behind the eyes at any point. But yeah, we're honestly so excited. It's a week to go now until the awards ceremony next Wednesday, the 22nd, at the Mercure and Earls Court. Obviously, John, you're our fabulous chair judge, which has been an amazing experience to have you on board. And Tina, you're another one of our amazing judges. I guess I just wanted to start off the answer by saying that we've kind of been very hyper-focused on this since 2023, when we launched our Travel for Everybody hub on the Selling Travel website, which was dedicated to all things accessibility, accessible travel. We just really wanted to spotlight it. So I guess the initial sort of motivation was a very personal one for us. We had a colleague who had sort of lived experience of what it was like to to travel and have access needs, and sort of how those were catered for, but also where those were falling massively short. So sort of due to that, we kind of started spotlighting it more. And of course, as well, this was a very sort of personal and emotive thing for the team. So we felt really invested in this ourselves through this colleague, especially. And that's kind of sort of developed. So this year, of course, we launched the inaugural awards. So we launched those back in March, which you'll remember because you were two of the first people to come on board, which was amazing. I felt like we had such a strong start with some amazing judges who were there from the outset, and then some more amazing judges who followed afterwards. So yeah, I think the purpose for us is that I think most of us have some experience of having maybe a friend or a family member, somebody that we really want to travel with, who does have those access needs, and we want to be able to enjoy traveling with them, and then them to be able to enjoy this experience as well. So I think actually probably quite a lot of us do have a personal stake in it in some way, and we just, from the same travel perspective, we just really want to recognize what people are doing, recognize those initiatives, and we also want to kind of put the challenge out there to, okay, what are you doing now, but what more could you be doing? How can you keep pushing this further? And the idea is to have the momentum kind of build. So we've started off, with something small and intimate, and we just want to keep it going, and we just want to keep kind of putting people in the spotlight and saying, okay, what more can we do? Where can we take this? But I think as well, it would be really nice to hear from the both of you, what you think the purpose is. Why do you think it's important?
Like me, you, I'll go. I'll go.
You go first, Dina. Ladies first.
Travel. So why do we travel? So we want to experience new cultures. You know, it's we want to experience. We want to go and do something different, and we want to open our minds and enjoy experiences. And when did travel exclusively become for the able-bodied? I, I don't know. I don't know how this has crept in and how this has happened. These awards are so important. When Jon rang me and told me what he was going to be chairing this judging panel, I was so excited because we've spoken many times about how do we move things on? How do we get venues, hotels, airline, transport? How do we get people to understand it's not a tick box exercise? It's not, okay, well, I've done that, that's enough. It's something that should be continually evolving. It doesn't always have to cost a lot of money. You know, I've got a really small audit checklist that I give free to hotels, venues here in the UK, and say, just go through this. These are your basic things. Go through it. You can do these, regardless of whether it's a modern property, historic building, whatever. This is your basic requirement. I've got a far more in-depth audit that I can then provide to you if you want to take it into, but these are your basics. And I think we all have a right to travel. We all have a right to explore. How are we going to get the message across unless we're highlighting all the good work? Like, these awards are so important, because other, venue providers, hoteliers, cruise companies, whatever, they will see what you're doing and all the good work and the examples that are being, because the caliber of entrance is very high. And I think we can only lead by example. And I think the focus these awards will bring to accessible travel, I mean, it's just a huge plus, and it will grow and grow and grow. It will become, every year this is going to get bigger and bigger. It'll probably be a complete beast in 5 years, and you'll wonder what you started. But yeah, but and there are so many people. Whenever I walk into a hotel, I'm checking everything out. I'm doing an audit literally within the first few seconds.
Yeah.
We're
I've,
asking,
I,
we're not asking the venue, hotel, whoever it is, the train companies, whatever. I had a great train ride down from Milan Central Station down to Stresa last night. fully accessible. And of course, I'm checking everything out. But we're not saying to companies, it's not. It's transformation can be expensive, but there are basic things that you can do, and these basic things are an actual requirement that we are now insisting that these companies are making and these companies are doing. And it doesn't take much even to walk around with a pencil and a piece of paper and just make common observations as to, it's
Yep.
silly things, isn't it? Obstacles. You can't get the gap's too small. You can't get a wheelchair. There's an obstacle. Someone's placed something in the way. You need to get in the mindset. You need to understand what accessibility is about, what your requirement is by law, and what you can actually do there and then to start making the changes. These awards highlight the importance of travel for everybody. It's not exclusive. It doesn't belong to one little, gang. We all should have just the basic right to explore and experience cultures, cities. It's, none of us should be confined to surroundings due to other people's lack of investment or thought.
I don't, you know, I think you've hit the nail on the head. I always say that accessibility isn't a tick box. Oh, I've done it. Accessibility and increasing accessibility is a journey. So you can start very basic and keep improving. And the more you improve, the better the access. But it will also be better for your business as well, because you'll be attracting the 20% of people that you weren't accessing before. So it makes good business sense to be accessible. I was absolutely astounded by how many entries we did get. It was like,
Yeah.
I think we all were like, oh, we didn't expect that. So it is really good to see.
Yeah, for sure.
So, I think I was going to say, how important do you think these awards are? But, I think we've covered that already, in what we're saying. Um, were Peter, were you surprised by the amount of entries and by the standard of entries as well?
Yeah, I mean, yes and no. So, oh, sorry, was that for Tina?
Anybody?
Charlotte, you go. You wafted out then, Jonathan. Not the
Well,
first
I
time.
got wafted out.
You wafted in, you wafted out. No, Charlotte, you go.
Thank you, Tina. So yeah, yes and no. So we, John, you're coming to one tonight, but we run connect events for travel agents where they can meet with suppliers and sort of find out about new product, etc. And you're a loyal follower, so thank you for that. And one of the things that get asked a lot during the Q&A at the end is about accessibility. And I think sometimes people are able to address that quite well and they have a good answer, but sometimes people can be quite nervous and they don't know. I don't think it's that they don't have any accessibility offering necessarily. I think sometimes they're just not sure how to get that across or if it's enough. So it's I guess I was surprised in a way because it seems that sometimes people are a bit reticent to talk about it or to spotlight what they're doing in terms of accessibility, maybe for fear that it's not enough or it hasn't been done properly. But also, no, because it is really important and it's a hugely growing sector. It's just going to grow and grow and grow. And I mean, so one of our other fabulous judges, Emma Partlow from Trans Report, they did some research recently which showed that almost 64% of disabled people and their families wouldn't want to have gone abroad this summer because it was just too much faff, to be quite blunt about it. It was too difficult. So that just shows how much of a need there is, that it really needs to be addressed. And I do think a lot of travel providers are becoming more and more aware of this. And I think the ones that are really sort of pushing it forward want to make that known. And I do think there is a lot of good faith around this as well. I think that they want to be recognized, but they also want feedback. And that's one of the things we're going to be focusing on during the ceremony. As we have all the winners coming up to collect their trophies, there is going to be feedback highlighting why they're the winner, what they've done well. And that's why I think as well, this event isn't just a celebration, it's an educational piece. Because they're there not just to celebrate what they've done, they're there to receive feedback and learn from each other. And not just, you know, in this feedback section, but there'll be extensive time for them to chat with each other. And there will also be time for them to chat with this other, you know, disabled people who will be able to give them that direct kind of feedback, hopefully, if they feel comfortable doing so. And I think that is the most important thing with these. It's that educational element and that aspirational element of, you know, what are we doing, but what more can we do? And as Tina, you just said, I think it will hopefully grow and grow and grow and become a very big thing. And it is so amazing to see how much interest there has been in year one. And, you know, starting off from absolutely nothing, this is a completely new project, but the energy and enthusiasm from everybody, from the entrance, from sort of discussions around it, from us, of course, and from our amazing judges, who none of this would be possible without you folks. So yeah, that was probably a very long answer, but yeah, yes and no.
Charlotte, I think it's interesting what you just said, just picking up a couple of the points you said about people thinking, you know, well, maybe we're not talking about what we're doing because maybe it's not enough. So to anyone that's just starting their accessibility, their due diligence, whatever you do is never going to be enough, because no one ever does enough. You're never going to 100% nail this, but to do nothing is the worst thing at all. So start, just, you know, start basic things. What basic things can we put in place for our transportation, on our buses, you know, in our whatever it may be, to and do start talking about it. One of my big bugbears, poor John hears me say this so many times, quite often when I'm reviewing hotels, I have to actually ring the hotel to find out if they have accessible rooms. And they're like, oh yeah, of course we do. I'm like, well, how do I find it on the website? Because your journey starts with the website. 80% of your buying decision now is made online before you've even... So, and they're like, oh, well, you have to go to the classic room and then click to the right and you'll see we've got accessible rooms. I said, what a load of malarkey. Because if you're doing accessibility, you're offering accessible rooms, you've got your ramps in place, you've got your, you know, your low level, you know, you've invested that money, you've invested that time to make sure your property is accessible. Why aren't you shouting about it? Why isn't it on the front page of your website, accessible rooms available? Why are they hidden at the back end of the website? I did a review of, it was 10 accessible hotels to stay in Buckinghamshire. So I did it for local government. Every hotel I had to ring and say, I know you've got accessible rooms because Google's telling me you've got them. I can't find it anywhere. Not, you know, I've got to literally go about 6-7 clicks through your website to find them. So I was saying to these venues, please make it easy for people to find these rooms and book these rooms, because you've invested all this money, you're not getting a return on that investment because you're not telling us what you're doing. And we want to promote, you know, I would love the UK. I know this is selling travel, I appreciate we're talking globally, but I would love us to be ambassadors for accessible travel. Start here. But I get completely bemused by people not talking about what they're doing. Because
I think that's it.
if I was Richard Branson, or, you know, I know it's not Stelios anymore, but I would be shouting about what I was doing as you know, whatever, neurodiversity, whatever. But I would be screaming from the rooftops, and the caliber of entrances that we've had is, I mean, I was shocked, from smaller businesses up to obviously very big household names. And this is why I think this, as an award, is just going to highlight what's needed, what we expect as a bare minimum. Because we're not asking, for the moon. We're asking that everyone has the same rights. So yeah, so important, and it's such amazing entrance as well.
I think you've hit the nail on the head, and I think one of the important things is this is quite a unique. In fact, it is unique in the travel industry, in that there is no other industry awards that focuses on accessibility, and so it's groundbreaking. And yes, there are categories within some of the bigger awards, but it's just one category. We're looking here at accessibility from all sorts of different angles. We've had cruise lines, we've got agents, we've got hotels. Each one of them has brought something really special. And I think this is not just an award ceremony, as Charlotte says. It's about education, but it's also a celebration of what's going on out there. And it is a growing movement, no company can afford to alienate 20% of the market. I'm just going to explain to people, because we're on an international call, there is going to be some interference. So I do apologise. It's technical issues, but we hope it's not going to affect your enjoyment.
It's quite thematic in a way, John, because it kind of sounds like we're by the sea. So
I know it's quite
travel link.
Yeah.
So yeah, maybe any listeners can just pretend they're listening to this by the ocean.
Yeah.
Or
Yeah.
stand by a turbine. I have to say, Charlotte, I have to say thank you to you and the team for these awards. For years, we've been trying to get. I'd love to run an accessibility conference. It's something John and I are quite keen to do.
Yep.
Someone said to us, you are never going to get a bunch of hoteliers from the UK in one room for a whole day of accessibility. You're going to have to throw in SEO, marketing, customer service. You'll have to make accessibility part of the agenda. And we were like, why? It's so important. But, hotel managers will invest in, a whole course on customer service for a day. They'll send all their employees off for, better whatever. But accessibility, which represents a huge amount of money to them for their revenue, why wouldn't they take that seriously? This is why, for me, these awards are so important. They are raising awareness. They're raising the bar. As I say, this isn't a nice to. It's not this is a must-have. So John and we've still got our accessibility conference there. But
yeah, we will get there one day.
I have to say thank you to you for these awards, because this is one of the single most important things I've seen in recent years to raise the profile.
Yeah.
Thank you. That's honestly such kind words. But like I said before, we couldn't do this without the judges. Your buy-in and the buy-in from anyone who is working in the travel space to make this happen. And I think. I guess I just wanted to say as well, for me, that's sort of the beauty of travel. Like, by its very nature, it transcends and pushes boundaries. Like you were saying earlier, Tina, it's about finding out new things, discovering new people, new places, new cultures, new food, things which are outside of your own experience, your own personal experience. And I think actually that ethos should be reflected in the services provided by the travel industry. And to me, that is why travel and accessibility are a natural complement to each other, because it's about going beyond just your personal experience, putting yourself in other people's shoes and making it inclusive and making it like, universal. So I just think they are two things that naturally should go together. And I really hope that that is something people will take from it. And I hope that is where it's going to go, and quickly.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I think one of the things, that really, gave me such joy was when we were putting together the judging panel. I have to say, I think we've got one of the best judging panels around. Yes, there's me and Tina. We've got people like Tracy Morgan, Emma Partner, Ammo. We've got, Paula. And everybody, it was, our judging day was such a joy because there was such enthusiasm. And I can't wait for this time next week.
Me neither.
It's going to be great fun to meet everyone.
Yeah.
It was very empowering, though, wasn't it, John? To have that many people together, you don't get this often. Normally, it's like me and John will have a chat. We'll catch up with Robin Shepherd from Bespoke, or it might be I'll have a chat with Emma. It could be, these are all done in isolation. But when you get that number of people all on one call, who are all so passionate about driving something forward, and then someone like yourself, Charlotte, who's given us a vehicle to do that. You come away just feeling, just so, it was very empowering. It was also very overwhelming for a subject that for so long, we will see it in the news, Tiny Grey Thompson, another nightmare on the train, or Isaac Harvey on a plane, being treated in horrendous conditions and his chair's been damaged again. We see all these and we think, well, when's it going to change? So when someone actually creates something like the awards that enable us to highlight everything that has been done and everything that is good, then it's overwhelming. I think it's sort of like, at last, finally, some recognition for something that is just a basic human right. That's why I always come back to, God created all men equal. We all have the same rights as each other. So why should some people be able to do something and not another? And
I experienced it, myself. Charlotte knows that one of my biggest campaign areas at the moment is aviation accessibility. And it just, I was just so uplifted when the government actually said, right, we're going to talk to you. We're going to listen to you about what needs to be done. And I have to say, Baroness Tanny Gray Thompson produced a really good report. It was a lot of what I also have been advocating for quite a long time. Anybody who's read my own report that I did on airport assistance will know it's so badly needed. But what saddens me now is that the government have turned round and said, yeah, but we're not going to legislate. We're not going to actually make the Civil Aviation Authority responsible. We're not going to put these standards in stone so that the airports and the assistance providers do what is needed. Um, and I just feel personally that in a way the government have betrayed all those people who took time, gave their expertise, and it's just like, yeah, you've had your say, but we're not going to do anything. Well, I think, yeah, it, mm, yeah, I,
Yeah. Yeah. And it's like what you were saying earlier, Tina, about how big companies, they will invest so much money and resource in, yeah, like you said, marketing training, for example, and it's so short-sighted
yeah,
because I think there's often this focus on what can we do to like grow the business or grow revenue, but that is accessibility will also do that. Building in accessibility will also do that. So there's the moral argument, but there is the business argument, and I think it is short-sighted sometimes for companies not to realize that. But I think I hope that maybe it's becoming more and more, and it will continue to do so in the future. And I think one thing I would say about the nominations is, as you said, we had a very high caliber and we had lots of nominations, which was absolutely fantastic and exciting to see. One area which I would love to see more engagement with, following on from our conversation, is airlines. We had an airports, and we had a couple of airport people shortlisted, but it would be fantastic if that's one area that could grow more, where more people could be doing things where they feel that they are able to put themselves forward for an award. So that would be the one area that I think it would be wonderful to see more engagement and more growth there. And I think that was something that came up in the judging calls as well. I think there's a lot of campaigning around accessibility is of course to do with airports and airlines. But yeah, it would be great to hear what else you thought as judges of the nominations and the standard, and where you think there's opportunity for people to go further. Mm.
Yeah. I think, yeah,
Yeah. And
you know,
some of the, sorry, John.
one of the things I'm hoping, I'm going to be very cheeky here. I'm going to put my pitch in quickly.
You cheeky.
I am being cheeky because one of the things I hope to do is that a follow up to what we're talking about is actually talk to some of our winners and finalists, at the event,
Yeah.
and we hopefully could do a follow up podcast.
Well, you said you want to do an on the day one, John, don't you?
Yeah, that's
Very
we're going to be very
exciting.
cheeky, and after
No,
all,
not at all.
it it's I'm going to be the roving reporter.
You'll be taking my job soon enough.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Mhm.
Oh no! You won't be able to
We've
hide
had
from
our
me.
time in the spotlight.
One of the I think yes, talking about what they put forward, and I think it's important that we look at what the judges were looking for. So I know what I was looking for. I'm going to ask Tina, what were some of the things that you were looking for? Mm.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it was a passion. Yeah.
Yeah. Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mm. Mm. Yeah. 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 And I mean, just from my perspective as a non-judge, going back to what you were saying, Tina, about sort of creating that sense of joyfulness, and there were smaller companies and individuals even who were doing so much, and they weren't just doing, like you said, the bare minimum, or even stuff that would make accessibility easier. They were doing things that created a sense of joy and excitement around the travel experience, which is taking it to the next level. It's not just making it easy, convenient, seamless, all of those words. It was making it a truly joyful experience for the traveler. And it was amazing to see that, there were people who were just one person or a few people running a business who were doing this so intentionally and with such enthusiasm and creativity,
Yeah.
and it
And
just
it's
shows it can be done.
and I think that it's also the passion that
Mm.
came across. Um, sometimes it was, you know, not not we put so much money into this. It was a case of we're doing this because we want to do it. We recognise there is a benefit, not just for the business, but for our customers as well. And I always say that if you disabled travellers are probably among the most loyal customers um, you can get. And any business will tell you it's far better to hold on to customers than to try and attract new ones. So if you,
Travel agents will certainly tell you that.
yeah, yeah, I've got customers now who are, like on the third or fourth holiday within 3 years, and they come back to me, and I think that's so important. In fact, a lot of my customers now, um, when they ring me up, I automatically recognise the phone number. It's that sort of care. Um, but yeah, so
Yeah.
yeah, yeah,
Mm, mm,
yeah,
yeah, agreed.
yeah. Well, it's been a pleasure talking to you, ladies.
Thank
As I
you.
say, I cannot wait till next week. It's going to be good fun. We've got some amazing finalists, and not just from the UK. They're coming from all over, and
Yeah, it's
there's one
very
of
international, which is
yeah,
fabulous.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
I'm just yeah, it, and I'm sure there's going to be many friendships made. Um,
absolutely.
you know,
I,
uh, I have to say, I think Tina's sighing a sigh of relief that my football team did not get through the FA Cup. We uh,
I'm
yes,
yes. Can I just finish by saying, as first of all, luckily I'm not a football fan, so I have no stake in this, so I'm going to remain completely neutral. Um, but yes, next week, I really think it's going to be a fantastic afternoon. As we said before, it is a celebration. Of course, it's a celebration, but it's also a chance for the focus to be on disabled people, disabled travellers, and those from the community who will be attending. And I personally feel that as great as it is that we've had so much buy-in from the companies, and we're so grateful for their entries and for their engagement, that is secondary.
mm,
They're what they're doing, and these awards are they're the conduit for a wider conversation around accessibility, and really shining the spotlight on the people who matter, who are the people that this is for. And I think that's what I'm really excited about. I'm excited to for the movement, as you said, Tina, and to kind of keep that momentum going, and not just have it as this one point. For it to be part of the bigger journey, a legacy, an ongoing thing, and that's the bit that's exciting to me.
yeah,
Not what happens on Wednesday, or what happens next.
yeah.
Mm. Mhm.
We will show them.
We will. Mhm.
I'm banned from there. Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh,
me
you
too.
and me both.
We'll bring lots of tissues for you, Tina. Don't worry. Tissues on every table. No, thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Great thing
Onwards
to hope.
and upwards, I hope.
Yeah, for
So,
sure.
as I say, thank you, ladies.
Thank you, Jon.
And I hope our listeners have enjoyed listening to this wonderful conversation. And I do apologise once again for some of the technical issues. You know, it's the joys of international
Yeah.
broadcasting.
Just pretend you're on a plane that's taking off for somewhere sunny. That's what I
Yeah.
say. Great. Thank you both.